What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here for Packersnews.com, live on Facebook late Monday afternoon. We haven't heard from Mike McCarthy. We haven't heard from anyone in the locker room. We haven't heard from assistant coaches, but we can hear from you. Even when the Packers take a day off, we're still here at Packersnews.com, giving you all the latest, breaking it all down for you. Like I said, no news today. Thought maybe we might have something late in the day, but nothing materialized. But I thought I'd come on and say hi to everyone. Hey, James, how are you? Greg, thanks for joining us. Michael, what's up? I just thought I'd jump on. Not a whole lot developing over the weekend other than Trevathan's 2-game suspension being handed down by the league. Obviously, he will appeal that. I tend to think there's probably a good chance he gets it reduced to 1 game, just on precedent, but we'll see. Maybe it's upheld. But outside of that, not a whole lot going on. The Packers still have the day off. They report back tomorrow. We've got him in the locker room in the afternoon. McCarthy doesn't talk until Wednesday, so we probably won't have any information on any of the injuries until then. We get our first injury report on Wednesday afternoon. In the meantime, we're left to just wait and see what happens. Did you agree with the 2 games? Yeah, I think that's about standard. I actually thought it was going to be 1 game, but I think the egregiousness of the hit warranted a 2-game suspension. I thought it was interesting. I didn't necessarily agree with it, but I thought Brady Papinga made some good points as to why it wasn't necessarily a dirty hit. I know the emotion of the moment catches people and you think, gosh, that's an awfully dirty-looking hit. And I'd still tend to think there's some malice in his heart when he goes at his head like that. But Brady, he's played the position and he knows what it's like to be going 1,000 miles an hour playing the game of NFL football. So he was somebody I wanted to listen to, and I thought he made some good points. If you haven't heard Brady's take on it, I suggest finding him on Twitter. He's got it posted there. Do you think the rookie running back performed well enough to be a starter? If you're talking about Aaron Jones, yes, I do. I agree with what Leroy Butler said in his 5 questions and X's and O's videos with Tom Silverstein over the weekend. I think Aaron Jones is really well suited to the offense, especially when it spreads out. Now, obviously, they do go to some power looks on occasion, the I formation stuff, but for the most part, they are a spread team, and I think Aaron really fits that kind of MO very well. His ability to see creases and to work in space, his patience to the line of scrimmage, his vision at the line of scrimmage, I think it's a little bit better than Jamal Williams, whereas I think Jamal's a little bit better in pass protection, maybe a bit more of a north-south runner. I think Aaron's just a little bit craftier and kind of the back that's needed for the offense the Packers run. You think Adams will be ready by Sunday? I don't know, Chris. We'll get our first kind of, look tomorrow afternoon when we do have locker room. If he's out of the concussion protocol, he'll most likely be in the locker room when the media's allowed in. If he's not, most likely he won't be because they're not allowed to talk to anyone while they're in the protocol. So we won't get an official word until Wednesday afternoon when we get our first injury report. If I had to guess, I would doubt he'll be available on Sunday, but that's just a guess. It doesn't mean anything. Any word about bringing in another running back? No, David, not yet. I would tend to think that's kind of what I was waiting for, to see if there was anything. Now, there may still be something. The transaction report isn't out for today, but typically when something happens, that's usually reported by this time. So I was waiting to see if one of our guys grabbed it, but nothing yet. So I would tend to think no. And that's not surprising, given Ted Thompson's history at the position. It's not a spot he traditionally likes to go, spend big on. If he were to do anything, he'd probably do what he did last week with the tackle spot and go get somebody off of somebody else's practice squad. That's what he did back in the day, back in 2010. It's rare that he does something like last year where he trades for Nile Davis. I tend to think they'll stick with what they've got. Remember, they drafted 3 running backs for a reason. Remember, last year when they were up against it was because they only had 2 running backs heading into the season. Obviously, that all went south very quickly. They drafted 3 of them with the intention of playing them. Just because they haven't played early on in the year doesn't mean that they don't think that they're ready. I tend to think Devontae Mays will be up and will probably get some touches now that Montgomery is day-to-day. Now, I know NFL Network did put that report out there that the rib injury, is not quite as bad as they feared initially. So there's a possibility we may still see Ty Montgomery. But I do think we'll see a healthy dose of Aaron Jones. Let's see. Will Mike McCarthy win Coach of the Year for once? Donnie, I doubt it. As long as he's got Aaron Rodgers, I doubt he ever will. And it's funny because, sorry guys, just adjusting there for a second. It's funny because I know Bill Belichick has won it, even though he has Tom Brady. But, McCarthy, it doesn't matter. If McCarthy's team goes 12-4, 13-3, it's all because, quote-unquote, he has Aaron Rodgers, which is, of course, ridiculous. Whereas James Starks these days, the guy can block. Yeah, but he can't run, so that's kind of a problem at the running back spot. Vikings just lost a big piece in Cook. Yeah, John, couldn't agree more. He looked very electric, dynamic. The Packers are going to be, kind of lucking out. You can't say it any other way, not having to face that rookie phenom. He was looking like a big part of their offense. Now he's lost for the year with the ACL injury. How many carries for Devontae Mays? I would, a handful, maybe. 3 or 4, possibly. And that really depends on Ty Montgomery. If Montgomery is good to go, then probably 1 or 2. But I don't think there's any doubt he'll probably be up with Jamal Williams' knee injury. Any word on Randall? If you're talking about Demarius Randall, McCarthy said that he would be back at work on Tuesday, and that's tomorrow. There haven't been any reports and no signs on the transaction wire, so I don't think he's getting cut. I think he had a bad day at the office on Thursday night. Like McCarthy said, they're going to deal with it in-house, and he expects him to be back at work Tuesday afternoon. Since Dallas linebackers can't cover the pass, will we take advantage of that? You got to think they're going to try. I tell you what, I just watched the Dallas Rams game, and boy, that Gurley route, that vertical that he ran out of the backfield, that's exciting. If you can get Ty Montgomery back and have him run something like that, Rodgers could be cooking at that point. But yeah, their linebackers aren't crazy athletic. Now Sean Lee, of course, is down again. So yeah, there's definitely space to be taken advantage of there. I tend to think you'll see probably, rather than with the backs, you'll probably see more Martellus Bennett and Lance Kendricks trying to take advantage of that area. Can we stop the run this Sunday? Benjamin, I think the whole game comes down to that. When I was watching the Cowboys game live on Sunday afternoon, I tweeted that I think the Packers can tear apart that defense. Rodgers and the offense, provided they're somewhat healthy, I think they can do some significant damage. I think the big question, and I think the entire game rests on their ability to stop the run with their nitro package. Because the whole reason they've gone to the nitro is to try and shore up their pass defense, which they have, as Dom Capers has pointed out a couple times. The kind of give and take there, though, is that they have gone from a top 10 run defense to number 18 in the NFL through 4 games. But that was prior to, or no, that was after Sunday's action, or during Sunday's action. So, they're hovering around, the bottom third of the league in run defense with the nitro. So, can they hold up? That's a big question. They're going to have to. And I don't think they're going to want to play a whole bunch of base. You saw them against Chicago go to a lot of 3-man line stuff, but I don't think you can do that against the Cowboys, who have way more weapons outside than the Bears do. It's nice to have 10 days to get ready, Paul. The Packers agree. You guys saw the injury list heading into Thursday night. This is a team that desperately needed 10 days off. Starting tackle is going to be back Sunday. Chris, we'll have a better idea of that on Wednesday. Or maybe even tomorrow if they're in the locker room, although they rarely say anything that means anything. I would think Wednesday afternoon we'll get our first real kind of update there. They're not using nitro, they'll go base like Thursday. Alex, I doubt it. If you go back and you watch last year, they went base in the first meeting and got run all over. Then you go to the playoff game, and they went nickel the majority of the time and did a much better job containing Elliott. I think they like getting those athletes on the field. I'm not saying they won't, but I think the majority of time will be in the nitro. Daniel's a must to stop Zeke. Dustin, I'm not going to say he's a must, but I will say the chances improve greatly if he's out there. Derek Sherrod is a free agent. It's cold, man. Will Dial play? I believe so. I know he was on the injury list, but he should be good to go. Bennett goes off this week. I don't know about goes off. I still think he's going to be needed to stay in and block a good deal, but I do think he'll be a little bit more productive. Is anyone going to tell Davis not to fair catch inside the 10? No. I asked Mike McCarthy about it, and they're fine with it. In fact, they want him to. They're trying to avoid the ball being down on the 1 or the 2. So, yeah, no. He's going to continue to do that. Will Mike Daniels be back? Edwards, stay tuned. We'll find out Wednesday afternoon. Owen, what's up? Jason Spriggs has underperformed compared to Kyle Murphy. Why move up when... Well, They didn't move up thinking, you know what, this guy's going to underperform. I've been impressed with Brooks. Yeah, I can see that. He's it's interesting because he's done a good job of being kind of showing up violently when he's needed, either against the run or the pass. He hasn't exactly flashed a whole lot, but his physicality has definitely shown through on tape. There's no doubt about that. I have to be able to tackle Zeke, not just reach. Yep, I agree with Brian. That's a big part of it. Nelson, couldn't agree more on Lane Taylor. Talk about a stud performance. A guy who played one snap of right tackle in the spring game back in college, 1 year, and then comes and plays left tackle for an entire game starting in the NFL. It's pretty impressive work for a guard, a lifelong guard. And those aren't slouches out there on the perimeter for rushing the passer for Chicago. So, yeah, that's a pretty darn good tape for Taylor. And it's funny because like it increases his value just after he's signed a contract extension. So, Ted Thompson looking good there. Will Devontae Adams break out this week? Well, Christopher, we got to see if he's even playing first. He's, for the last we heard, he's in the concussion protocol. So it'll depend on if he's available to play. Any word on Beagle or Barclay's progress? Well, I tell you what, Vince Beagle looks like he's ready to go. We see him at practice, and he's working off to the side, but he looks like he's got full range of motion. He's not able to be activated until after week 6, and at that point they have a 2-week window to decide whether to put him on the 53 or to place him on IR for the rest of the year. But I think it's a no-brainer. Once that's week 6 threshold is reached, I think they'll put him on the 53 pretty quickly. And as far as Barclay, he is not eligible to come off IR until after week 8. So we'll see. Are you worried about the Lions? The only thing I worry about are my children. Would you do color commentary? A lot of Star Wars references. Yeah, that's kind of what I would do. What happened to your Montgomery? He had a rib injury. Put Romo and Gruden in the booth together. That would be fun. Big game this week. Do you think we can beat Dallas? Matt, absolutely they can beat Dallas. Any more contract extensions coming soon? Peter, nothing that I've heard of, and I asked around actually during the break, specifically on Lindsley, but I couldn't find out anything. So if there are any talks going on, they've kept them pretty hush-hush, but I tend to think nothing's going on at the moment. Do you think Thompson would look into a trade for Peterson? No. If he was going to sign Peterson, he would have done it in free agency. He had every opportunity to. There's no reason to sign him now. Hell, I think Aaron Jones is probably a better player than he is at this point, especially for the Packers offense. What's up with House? Going to return? Yeah, Larry, let's hope so. I mean, the hamstring and during training camp and now the groin, never a good sign. Older player. And he's not old by NFL standards, but he's getting up there. I understand they want him 100%, but the longer he's on the bench, the more likely it is someone can grab his spot. Let's see. Are you excited for Vic Ketchman is back? Oh, Vic. Good stuff. Will you be at the game Sunday? Yes, Otis. I am always at the game. If you need to know where I am, just find the Packers, and that's where I am. Aaron Jones should have some very nice numbers versus Dallas. Yeah, I guess, Christopher, I think a big part of it will be how much they sell out to stop him against an offense that hasn't done a great job of opening up running lanes. Now, I think Jones did a nice job and showed some really good vision against the Bears. But we'll see. The Packers as a whole so far this year haven't done a great job up front when it comes to the run game. They're going to have to do a little bit better, I think, for him to have room to operate. Can you do Nagler's never right on Leroy Butler? I'm not sure exactly what that means, but hey, Leroy Butler's a Hall of Famer in my book. Daniels is key to stopping Elliott. Yeah, I think he's important. There's no doubt about that. But if he's unable to go, they got to do it with what they got. Bennett needs to catch the ball. John, he did. He had 8 targets and 7 catches against the Bears, including one big third down conversion. So I think he's moving in the right direction. Do you think the defense will be better when House is back, plus keeping Jones and King? Yeah, I think it can only improve when House gets back. I don't think you're going to see Demarius Randall out there too much in the starting lineup anytime soon. I think it'll be interesting to see if he gets the nod over Hawkins, because you got to if you're the Packers, you have to like Hawkins' speed. point blank. And if he shows he's able to hold up down in and down out, I think maybe he even gets the nod over House, who's now missed a lot of time and has shown that while he's a wily veteran and able to do some stuff, he's never been a speedster. And now that he's older and coming off of hamstring and groin injuries, that's never a recipe for success against the speed on the perimeter in the NFL. So yeah, I think he obviously helps them, especially against some of the bigger wide receivers. But like I said, I would look for Hawkins to get more playing time regardless. Eric, that's very nice of you to say. Jake Ryan is underrated? ? I think he's having a good year. It was unfortunate that he missed some time with a concussion, but I thought he played well last week. So, they'll start to mix him and Martinez in a little bit more. Joe Thomas had a nice play on that deep ball. Those guys, they all do certain things well. And I think, I think Ryan's had a decent season. 2 tight ends, keep that package on the field. Yeah, I think you'll see some of it. I don't think it'll ever be their predominant offensive formation or personnel grouping, sorry. But, yeah, I think you'll see a bunch of it on Sunday. Does King cover Dez? Yeah, Joseph, I would think so. I would tend to think that's probably the matchup that they want going in. I'll be interested to see if he actually shadows him, though. I tend to think they'll probably play sides, but you never know. Maybe they determine they like his physicality and they're going to let him sink or swim. Dez isn't exactly the receiver he once was. He's still dangerous, and he's still physical, and he's still able to bring down, contested catches, etc. So that'll be a matchup worth watching. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is better than Brady? Yes. Blake Martinez having an amazing year. I agree, Joel. He's definitely taken a step that they definitely needed. Elliott's suspension? Stay tuned. Bennett blocking has been great help with the injuries. Dustin, I agree. Dez has lost a lot this year. No longer a top wide receiver. Well, what's funny, Barry, is that he's done... I love this note from Sam Monson at Pro Football Focus. If Dez Bryant were a defensive back, he would be tied right now for the 6th spot in the NFL at passes defensed, meaning that he has kept his quarterback from throwing interceptions 6 times. Whether it's balls behind him, above him, what have you, Dez has had to play almost as much defense as he has offense just because of errant throws from his quarterback. So that's something to watch for. There's no doubt there. Let's see. Can we please have a better game in London? Peter, I think next year is your best bet. I think, that Rams game looms large in 2018. A lot of people think that's the game that's going to have Green Bay making the trip across the ocean because they would never give up a home game. And that's an away game, big market. They won't have LA won't have their stadium yet. So if there's a game that the Packers will be involved in across the pond, that would probably be it. He looks slower in the past. Barry, I agree. He definitely has lost a step. Kendricks, Rodgers is a better choice. I think both offer, significant contributions in the passing game. Kendricks does a good job of getting open. I think Rodgers has great hands. Rodgers is a red zone threat, or has been in the past. I think they'll continue to kind of mix him up. Why do I think Rodgers is better than Brady? He can make every throw. He can throw on the run. He's a problem for defenses all over the field, whereas Brady, at this point in his career, can't do quite as much. Although, you look at that 5-touchdown game against the Texans, you can't take that away. Those are the types of games that he's still going to have. He's an amazing talent, but I think Rodgers presents more problems for defenses. His ability outside the pocket pretty much and his running ability puts him above Brady in my book. Just as just evaluating the quarterback position. Now, if anyone answers with, yeah, but Brady's got 5 rings, I would counter, rings are a group accomplishment. They are a team accomplishment. And isn't it funny that Brady's team lost after giving up 30-plus points yesterday? Something that Rodgers is often tarnished with. Oh, well, Rodgers has lost all these games after his defense gives up 30-plus points. Lo and behold, Brady's team gives up 30-plus points, and they lose. Funny how that works. Do you see signs that Bennett is attracting coverage and contributing outside of the stat sheet? Yes. Allison replaced Adams on Sunday? Yes, Heidi. Is the O-line situation affecting Bennett's performance? in so much that it's changing probably some of the responsibilities that he's given week in and week out. It's definitely hurting him on the stat sheet and requiring him to stay in and block more. But, that said, he still has to catch the balls that are thrown to him, which he started to do on Thursday night. So hopefully the Packers have got him headed in the right direction. Hit Dak hard a few times. I'm sure they plan to. Let's see. New England this season is a testament to a team sport. Brady can't bail out his team when his defense is atrocious. He came close, though. I'll say that. Who's on the injury report? No one yet. We don't get our first injury report for the week until Wednesday afternoon. Word on Demarius Randall is that he'll be there Tuesday. That's what McCarthy said when we last spoke. And he said he expects him to be there Tuesday, ready to work. They're off. Today's their last off day after the Thursday night game. So, to be determined. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon. All right, everybody. I'll take one or two more. Let's see. Tom and Jerry's for watching the Pack. David, that is a great spot. I don't ever get to watch them here in New York anymore because I'm always on the road. But Tom and Jerry's is great. And Kettle of Fish is just the best. That's when I used to go out before I became a father and a responsible adult. I used to always go to Kettle of Fish. Love that spot. Hawkins any good? Emilio, he's definitely improved since last year. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He'll still take his lumps. I think he should have been called for a pass interference against the Bears on one particular play. He got away with it. So, I think they're going to be up and downs, but, I tell you what, it's night and day compared to what he was doing last season. Where is Raji? Thank you, Brian. That is my cue. Thanks a lot, everyone. I'm sorry if I couldn't get to your question. They do go rather fast, but I'll be back tomorrow afternoon after we hear from the guys in the open locker room. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you're checking PackersNews.com for all the latest. We'll have everything for you. Whatever happens, we're on top of it for all your Packers news. Thanks a lot, everyone. Talk to you tomorrow.